and what can we do in order to, what's happening with Starshot, what is next, right? So I want to start with first, you probably know all of my co-speakers, but I would like to do a quick introduction and get some opinions on what means innovation for them in the context of open source and also in the context of Drupal. And I will start with Cristina. Lenny, if I may. Sorry, Cristina.
I don't have time to think about that now. Okay, what's innovation?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's innovation in the context of open source and in Drupal?
Yeah, probably I would say do things different, especially from the way that we used to do things before, and find new ways, because a lot of times open source is a lot about like the product itself, and the key part on the open source wall is actually how we work together, and the fact that we are like changing the way that we work and we can involve more people, and the way that we involve people and the tools that we use to involve people. I think that's something that can change and shape completely the product, because the people involved can actually have really new ideas.
I built this roundtable with the idea of making a very diverse group of people. In the case of Cristina, you're coming because you come from agency, from Lulabot, but also you have a lot of experience working in core, kind of, working on the admin. I don't think we need an introduction from you. Lenny.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, I'm Lenny, and so when we were talking about innovation, I think, to me at least, it's down to two things. First, it's discovery, and another is collaboration. Because, as Cristina mentioned, so basically it's not necessary when we were talking about the discovery, it's not necessary about something very new. It can be looking at the things that we already know, but from the different angle, and getting re-inspired by them. And when we are talking about open source in particular, it's always about the collaboration. So it's about learning from one another. It's, talking to your colleagues, talking to your competitors, learning and sharing that knowledge and trying to reach better good, I guess.
What about the second question? Do you think Drupal is still innovative?
I would say so, and in particular, Drupal CMS is the proof of that, because we are reimagining the things that we had at some point. Like I was talking, for instance, earlier today about that we are bringing fun back in Drupal, right? We are trying to make complex things more accessible, more understandable by a larger group of people. So, and I think that's pretty much, in a way, definition of innovation as well.
Again, I don't think we need any introductions. Lenny is kind of the voice of the Drupal Association in this roundtable. Thanks a lot for joining. I'm going to the agency side. My friend Hemant.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. So I'm currently technical architect at QD42. And for me, innovation is it's a two-way thing. So basically, it's not just about exploring new things or adapting to the new technologies, but also reinventing or doing the same things again and again in a new and better way, improving on top of that. And it happens across everything, whatever the work we do. It's not just about technology, it could about the processes which we follow or do the things. And is Drupal still innovative? I mean, hell yeah. Drupal is innovative, and it has been doing it from the start, from the early, let's say, many people have worked with Drupal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I started with Drupal 7, and then Drupal 8 came, where we adopted lots of new technologies, Symfony and all that structure. Then we added the config management system, and then we had a concept of profiles and recipes, right? The distribution system, basically, with the profiles. Now it is being changed to recipes. Now AI is coming into the picture, and we are adopting to the AI. So Drupal is still very much innovative, and we are definitely adapting it to so quickly. So yeah, we are definitely innovating.
Hemant, as you can see, has a lot of experience in the market, in the industry. We actually used to work together when I had my time in Akia. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
And Piyuesh, from kind of the business point of view.
Yeah. Hi guys, I work as the Director of Technology with QED42. I started with Drupal back in my college days when we were doing like college fest portals with Drupal, and joined as an intern with QED42. Have seen the growth of technology along the growth of the organization here. We started as a pure play Drupal shop, and over the years we have added other tech stacks to the ecosystem. Innovation for me is about balancing technology as well as what market needs are and what customers are asking. So technology is definitely one aspect of it where Drupal is definitely leading. We added headless capabilities when the time was right. We brought in different initiatives like Project Browser, recipes, and recipes also focused on specific aspects like SEO, analytics, which is something that every other site needs. Time where low-code tools were very much in demand within the market, are very much in demand in the market. Drupal CMS is definitely going to add a lot of value. So for me, it's balancing technology with what the market is asking as well as what the customer needs are today. The question about is Drupal still innovative? Yes, very sure. I'm very sure about this because I, in different interactions with customers today, I definitely get asked this question that is this still possible? Is this still the thing with Drupal? Like, for example, being able to author a page was quite tricky, but right now we have layout builder, experience builder coming over, right? Things have improved. We still have these questions are still in the customer's head, like, is Drupal still going to have that kind of authoring experience or this one? And that's where I go ahead and tell them that things have evolved. You need to, like, this is what the latest version of Drupal offers you. So there's some education needed, definitely. But yes, in terms of where we're heading, Drupal is definitely innovative.
Thank you, Piyuesh. I'm kind of relieved because all of you said that, yes, Drupal is innovative. I should rethink my questions when I'm organizing these panels. I want to stop for a second and look at, you may be familiar with this graph. This is on project usage/Drupal in Drupal.org. And it's showing the trends of adoption on Drupal, right? And you can see that some trends are going down for some years. We had our golden era around the 2016. And since then, it's been kind of, I wouldn't say going down, but at least flat, right? And I was extracting some numbers last week from there. I'm building some graphs, so I could look at the graphs in kind of different perspectives. And you can see Drupal 7, Drupal Legacy, obviously going down. That's good news, although it's going down. We want to get rid of Drupal. It doesn't look like we are going to because some companies are, building the end of life, which is needed, actually. And you can see how Drupal modern, Drupal 8, 10, etc., is going up, right? And I'm quite excited because I was looking at those numbers last week, and you can see a peak there, right? Mm-hmm. And you could try to identify some patterns. I'm not an economist. If I will be controversial, I will say, yeah, we are at the doors of something huge, as any economist will say. But I can see, I feel very positive about what we see here, and especially about all the work that we are doing in Starshot, Drupal CMS, the market initiative, all the things that we are doing. It feels, it gives you a lot of reasons to be positive. And when you look at these numbers and these kind of peaks, it's like, okay, I think we are at the beginning of something, right? Maybe a new golden era for Drupal. What do you think? What do you think that these graphs are telling us about Drupal, about the health of our ecosystem? Cristina?
Yeah, so a lot of the times the graph that is used is about the site installs, and it's just one of those pieces that reflects, and usually, so it plays against us because Drupal in the last years, it has become more an enterprise thing. So you can't measure the like if you used another data, would you say, for example, how much money the market is moving. For example, if we're talking about enterprise projects, it's big, but if we're talking about the specific installs, one install of WordPress, probably it's like worth, I don't know, how many Drupal installs. And the fact that we're still using, and it's because it's easy to use, but like the amount of sites, it's obvious that for when sites were way cheaper to build in Drupal, like Drupal 7, it was like up there and it's going down. But if you used another thing, like whoever, used another like point to review that, it would be like a completely different thing. And something that has been really positive lately, it's like the amount of contributions that has happened over the last, since it was like Drupal CMS was announced. I've seen like Tim from the DA showed, I'm not sure if you've seen that, like the graphic of the amount of contributions over the last months have gone like, woo, again. And that's a really positive thing.
Yep, that's a really good point. Like playing the devil's advocate, the only problem I see in this context is that it looks like we are getting the money from one pocket and put it in the other, because what I don't see is new companies coming to the ecosystem, right? Kind of the problem of how do we make more takers into makers, right? But yeah, it's a good point. And actually, I've been having this conversation with other companies and other colleagues, and they were telling me, hey, Drupal is on decline. It's like, well, I don't agree with you, And actually, this is a good argument. Any more takers?
I think I agree with Cristina, and I mean, site installs is one way of looking at it, but I honestly don't believe that's the only metric we should be looking at, because the amount of revenue Drupal sites may be generating, or the empowerment that Drupal is providing to enterprises today, with how it has evolved, that has increased confidence, that has increased in numbers as well. Yeah.
I would like to add just like a little bit to the fact that indeed, I am hopeful as everyone here about the future of Drupal, and I see the positive tendencies that are happening. But at the same time, and I think those tendencies are especially valuable because we need to acknowledge that last couple of years, they were tough to many. To many companies, like I know for sure across Europe, across the US, and we do know that, and that's precisely probably why we are trying to put as much effort in order to ensure that our community has a bright future, and that the things that we are prioritizing at the moment, they are making as much impact as we can envision.
I love the optimism. Hemant, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think like everyone said, the installs are not just one metric, and enterprise level thing is there as well. And I think the only thing we were lacking in is like having a buy-in of smaller sites, basically where WordPress excels. And Drupal CMS should like boost that dramatically, because it would greatly reduce the developer involvement and getting started to do the things. And then like lots of initiatives coming in, like automatic updates and stuff like that. It will make the upgrade process easier as well, and maintenance process easier as well for the site owners. So like it would allow them to bring in more huge base of customers and clients. And definitely like the community will also like evolve more when there is more business around anything. The community and the people grow more around it as well. So I definitely see like things are heading in positive direction.
I love the optimism that we have, because I agree with that. I think we are on the right track, and we are putting all the effort and all the hard work on that. There are several initiatives, like the First Experience Initiative, the Open University. We have 2 marketeers at the Drupal Association. What initiatives do you think, and this goes as well for the rest of the room, right? I haven't said this, but we will have some time for questions at the end. But it doesn't need to be like that. If you want to jump, you have an urgent question, just come and please ask the rest of the room. What do you think that could help on this growth? Are there any initiatives that you think we should be paying more attention to?
Yeah, sure.
So I think like there is always so many initiatives happening in the Drupal. Some are initiated by the community, some are initiated by the DA with input from the community or from the board. But the thing is that we have to keep in mind that there is such a thing as priority. And we cannot just do everything at the same time. So obviously when we are moving from things that actually having the most impact and have that opinion being formed. So we have the questionnaires that we are sending on the regular basis to the companies that are either the Drupal certified partners or not yet, hopefully not yet. And we are reaching out to the community, so we trying to hear voices. And by we, I mean not only the DA, but different working groups as well, different like kind of communities within the Drupal. The one thing that I can tell you from the point of the DA, though, that 2025 will be quite exciting year because we have a couple of things in cooking. In particular, we are trying to expand our presence at the non-Drupal event, and in that way to raise awareness about open source in general and Drupal in particular, to let people know about Drupal, to get them excited about it. And so that's what we're going to be doing, and we are expanding. That's something that was happening in the US for quite a while, so now we're expanding to Europe, and I'm hopeful that the similar things will be happening in Asia as well.
That makes me super excited because it's one of the things I've been talking for some time in terms of we need to burst our bubble, because it's great. These events are amazing. We are all friends. After 2 or 3 events, you know by yourself that we are all known faces, but at the same time, we are preaching to the core. So it's kind of, we are talking to people that are already convinced about, we need to go outside of our bubbles. So that's a good point. And I'm really grateful to have you because you are reminding us that, the Drupal Association, as Tim Lennon says, is a tiny but mighty team, but they cannot do everything. So we need priorities. Cristina.
So it's fun that you actually mentioned that, because I was actually going to say we need to reach those people outside our community that are actually the decision makers, the people that is going to decide, okay, I need to build a website, I need to build like a platform. What tool am I going to use? And the best way to reach those people is not through Drupal events. It's actually going to like, I don't know, specialized webs or technology-related posts, or like we need to go and get Drupal content out there and reach those people and get on a strategy on what we're saying to get them interested on Drupal, and they say, oh, it's alive, it's still doing that. It's still the tool that I can use to solve my need or my problem. And to reach those people, we need to go out there, and that's what we should be doing to actually make Drupal grow. We need to build a product to actually properly serve their needs, but actually we need to go and publish content about Drupal out there.
Yep, it's a good point, and I have a funny story about Drupal in Web Summit in Lisbon. That was last year, I think, and it was just that experience that people came to our booth. I don't know if you have seen it, but the booth was beautiful, a lot of Drupal presence there. So people were walking around, and some people were coming to us, and one came and asked, hey, you are still alive. Like, yeah, okay. Thank you for that, because when people are kind of telling about the technologies, like PHP has been dead for many decades, right? Since it started, and it's still kicking, and it's like 80-something% of the web, 90%. So thank you very much. We want to be that. We want to be, growing like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think regarding that PHP point, every month I see a thread where it mentioned like every year PHP will die, but it comes back even stronger. And I think regarding the initiatives, like it is mentioned, marketing is the one which we should be focused on much more, but I think all of them connect with like each other as well. Like if we have a strong marketing, then we have a strong business base, and that will also help the other initiatives to flourish well, because that will help in bringing more talent easily into the Drupal community, which will make it more thrive in the future.
Yes, please.
So for those of you that might be unaware about some of the listed initiatives over there, so IXP initiative is about providing the opportunities for of the internship to the Drupal community members or newcomers. And the Open University is a really great new initiative which will be hopefully directly related to the previous one. So what we are doing there, we are preparing the course that will be available to any university around the globe. And people would be able to enroll in it for free. Hopefully, we will try to arrange that with the universities, and we are hopeful that it will be a possibility. So please, if you want to learn more, check out the dedicated Slack channels and dedicated projects on Drupal.org.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I guess you need all the help that you can get. So, and it's a good opportunity to come talk to Lenny during this DrupalCon. Piyuesh, you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I think pretty much covered, because marketing is something that is definitely needed. We are doing certain good stuffs, but the word is still not out there with a lot of customers. People are still with the notion that the site building experience is the old one. But yeah, I especially wanted to touch base on IXP initiative, because that's something which is about bringing new talent to Drupal and Drupal internship. So yeah, we do a boot camp at QED42. In fact, we're doing one starting from Jan this year. This is something that I would also want to collaborate around on Drupal Slack maybe. I know there's a channel for IXP initiative, but this is what is needed, bringing fresh talent within Drupal. And previously, I understand, but till Drupal 7, it was very difficult to get new talent to Drupal because there was a steep learning curve. Drupal had its own island, but right now, the way of doing things in Drupal has changed, and it's like how do I put it? It's like the common way of programming and uncommon way of doing things, or a standard way of doing things, rather. So IXP is something that we should definitely focus upon.
And I love the work that you are doing in QED42. You know, Hemant, you are a mentor.
Yeah,
we
Hemant
started
is a
working
mentor.
together, and you were kind of 2 years experience, a junior kind of. And now we have moved into, mentoring, and we need that. We need that because if you go to Drupal events, I was saying we are all friends, but we are all getting old. And you see that the age is growing up. And when yesterday, I think it was Dries or someone was asking, who is first DrupalCon ever here? And 50% of the room raised their hands. That's amazing. That's incredible.
It's for Hemant as well.
That's amazing. We need more of that. Growing is good, but what about removing blockers? Sometimes the way to get, more income is spending less. So I'm wondering if the way to attract more people or growing is trying to, remove some of those blockers. What do you think that is hindering that growth? And I kind of put some ideas in there, like attracting young developers, long-term sustainability. Some thoughts on this, some ideas?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned like getting new devs to Drupal of course, the certain people who have tried Drupal till Drupal 7 and then they have left, they're still left with the same notion. But whenever we speak with the customers today and we show them a demo of what Drupal is capable of, they're like, wow, this is how the new Drupal looks like, and they're pretty amazed with it. We definitely need a lot more on the contribution side to move faster. Christina already mentioned that we need a lot of designer support. But I think these are two different areas where I would say that we need support in terms of moving faster.
What do you think, Cristina, from the core part? You've been working a lot, with front-end initiative, with the admin. What do you think is kind of hindering? What kind of blockers do we have in terms of contribution?
So we need more people with experience, and I know that we are saying here we need new developers, and that's for sure, but we need more people with experience actually on blogging things. Like there's a bunch of core committers, but there is not enough people to get all the work done. So we would like, it would be great to have more people with experience to actually tracking all these things, getting more maintainers, getting more like people that can actually like do the job to unblock things and speed things. I think that would be great.
The other day we were talking as well about bringing new people to contribute. But if those people come to the ecosystem and they work for a week or a month or 2 months and then they disappear, that's kind of hard as well, right? Because it is a lot of work from the core maintainers to onboard them. Like in any company, it takes some work for onboard those people, and suddenly they leave in 2 months because actually they have their life and they have other work. What do you think in
Yes, has a point.
You have a question, sorry. You want? I will get the microphone to you. I'm gonna do my workout today.
So I know that Starshot in particular has a very quick turnaround time, but even then, we've all acknowledged that Drupal CMS is just the beginning. So this is one of those things where we do need to think about the fact that we are making a long-term investment. Our experience with core mentoring has always been that when you teach 100 people to contribute, 10 of them will come back. And of those 10 people that come back and contribute consistently, one of them, just one out of those 100 people that you taught to contribute, will be someone in turn that you eventually will be able to rely on as a consistent contributor. So it's always a numbers game. You always approach it from you welcome 100 people and you give them the tools they need to succeed and you give them the support they need, that you welcome them, you try to make contribution a positive experience for them, and 10 of them will come back and be involved regularly, and you only get one person out of that group of 100 people. So it's always a number game, and you always have to keep that game face on, keep making it a welcoming experience, provide the positive opportunity, and hopefully that one person will help take over for you the next time, the next cycle that goes around, and be the person to put the energy in, be the mentor, and pass that down for the next cycle so that the next time around, you can grow the opportunity and get that one person. So you have to keep scaling it, so that you have 2 people and then 4 people and so on. It's always a numbers game. And we have to concentrate on the fact that this isn't gonna happen overnight. We just need to make sure that the innovation that we're doing right now excites people, and it is exciting people, clearly. I mean, so many people right now, I think what I've heard from almost everyone who's involved in Drupal CMS is we have too much help, right? There's so many people that wanna help. Not enough people have the knowledge, the tools, the information to help in a way that we need right now. It's the challenge, I think, is how to keep them engaged and excited long enough that we can train them up, keep them excited until we can get to the point where they have that sort of knowledge base, that reliability, that they can stay involved and be the people to teach that next group of people.
Thanks a lot. Any thoughts? Like you were talking, it's a numbers. It's a numbers game. Do we think this is sustainable? What do we need? Right?
I think actually that's exactly the place where especially the maker-taker problem kicks in. Because if, let's imagine the world, right, where all the takers actually becoming makers, and when the companies are actually dedicate the time of the people that work for them and that have quite a bit of experience, and they start giving back to their community as, well, I dare say it should be. So I think that would be like really great improvement element, both in this number game that Jess was referring to, and both with the problem that Cristina was referring to as well.
Cristina, you want to? I love it. You are getting excited about this, all of you.
So what I've seen is, like, for example, at Lullabot, we work with way bigger clients that Drupal CMS is actually going to solve. But I thought my responsibility was actually to try to convince the people at Lullabot to say, you have to invest on this. And basically what I did was, okay, which parts of Drupal CMS will actually help our clients? So, for example, navigation. Navigation is actually something that can help anybody, not just for Drupal CMS, but for anything. Or the dashboard. Find these small pieces that your business is actually going to take something from there and sell that to your company and say to your company, hey, we can invest on this small thing. We don't have to invest on the rest of the things. That is actually going to bring back all this investment to us, because it's going to make a big, an important thing, or it's going to make a change in Drupal core. It's going to make it in, and then everybody's going to use it, but we are going to use that also. So it's going to come back home, whatever investment we make. So for us, at Lullabot, it was us, the developers, trying to convince the rest of the people. It was easy, Lullabot is easy to convince that, but it's a lot of time, it's our capacity to like put the example out there and show to the company how we could actually do that.
So on the topic of like challenges, so I want to talk about some of the code side of things, because I've seen like being part of both takers and makers. Basically, like my previous organizations were kind of more taker side, and QD is more of a maker side, right? So like what I have observed when you're working for takers, or like sometimes it's not just about they only want to use Drupal or something, but sometimes takers do not understand even like how they contribute back, like even from the code perspective, for example. And that's where the documentation comes in. Like we have lots and lots of documentation. I think we were talking about it yesterday as well. Like we have lots and lots of documentation, but it's not easy to get started with it. Like from where to begin, and even if you begin it, like how to evolve with that. So for example, a couple of years back, we were following a patch-based mechanism of doing the contribution, which was quite complex for someone new coming to the contribution system. And we are now slowly moving towards merge request system, which is like more familiar to the people who are day in and day out working with GitHub or GitLab in the pull request and merge request workflows. So definitely, and I think we need to make that more seamless and more easier to understand and like collaborate for people, like maybe running AI in Drupal issue queues or in the GitLab issue queues, right? So that in the same interface itself, they can just search for anything they want to understand, like let's say how to write a test case. Like right now, if you need to understand how to write a test case, you need to go through lots of documentation, a complex documentation, which is like if someone understands the bits and pieces of it, like then they can figure it out. But if they are completely beginner or something like that, then it's quite complex to it. So I think solving that part of documentation and making it more and more accessible, more and more easier to understand, would be a game changer for converting more takers to the makers, who definitely have the intent to basically contribute into it for the Drupal community. And I think the contribution credit system is already doing great job to like incentivizing for the takers to basically be converted to the makers by having a ranking system for them, like doing valuable contributions. They will be able to go into the top and have some business impact as well.
Yeah, actually the contribution system is an example for a lot of other open source projects, and for example WordPress, right? One of them. I find it very interesting what you were mentioning about maybe some takers don't actually know how to be makers and how their help is needed. I'm wondering if we are talking about doing marketing outside of our bubble, and actually maybe one of our bubbles is inside our own bubble. So maybe we have the bubble of takers that we assume that they don't contribute, but we should assume goodwilling from everyone, right? And maybe it's just that we may need to do some marketing side of that bubble.
Yeah, and just on the one more example, like some organizations are like quite involved with the ecosystem, right? So whenever someone comes into that organization, they automatically like get involved into the ecosystem, and it's easier for them to get started into that. But for some people, they don't know like these things are happening, and they don't go into that like place itself at the first place. So maybe like when someone gets onboarded, someone onboards their organization, right? Maybe that could be more of a like on Drupal.org. Maybe more helpful content can be sent, like not just generic content of like do this way, but you should get involved into this, and it will really help your organization in growing the people's skills as well, to basically contribute better and take them to the next level. Yeah. And when people's skills improve, they will be better at doing their work as well, and that will help your organization grow as well.
Yeah, and I think like DrupalCon and these huge events are hugely beneficial for sharing that word, but I think there is a huge place on local events, Drupal meetups, and they have pretty much disappeared since COVID. But we can start seeing more like DrupalCon London and events in Madrid as well in Spain, and I'm optimistic. I'm really excited about seeing all those Drupal local events, which will be, kind of pushing on towards that direction. Lenny.
Yeah, and I would like to just a moment. I would like to agree with you regarding the marketing, Alex, because one of the things that we only, I dare say, starting to realize is how many end users are out there that are not integrated in any way with the Drupal community, that are not aware actually about the DrupalCon that is happening, or Drupal camps, or like any sort of the local or global events. And I think indeed that's something that we will be targeting in the nearest future. I'm cautious signing up for my colleagues right somewhere here probably, but yeah, but I think that's like something that we are starting to be more and more aware of, and recognizing it as one of the targets for the future in terms of outreach.
Thank you, Lenny. We have a question from Dan from Adaptive.
Hi. In terms of creating or having more makers, what are the thoughts about having a more focus on commercial, paid-for modules to create that sort of freemium model that would bring more makers to the world? Controversial, maybe, I know, but.
Yeah, so I think that we touched base briefly yesterday about that. So, and I think that there is many opportunities, because there is a lot of modules that have free version, but that's kind of being commercialized. However, like I'm not sure like if that's good, bad. That's just the things how things are.
My personal opinion on that is like it's kind of against the spirit of open source, because open source means you have open access to the code base, right? And like Lenny mentioned, like some of the modules are integrating with the third-party systems which are already paid. So I think that's kind of a better model, because people are paying for a service which is specifically designed by your organization, and that you are calling out it's a private model, right? But Drupal should not promote that, because it's an open source software and it should always be open.
I understood that, but to create, if you're going to solve the bigger problem of not enough makers, do you know what I mean? It's like it's almost a balancing act, trying to find out.
Yeah, and
Make the problem, or do you solve the other problem?
yeah, absolutely.
Change it, isn't it?
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. And there are like multiple examples of the successful software as a service Drupal-based products that indeed that they contribute back massively. But once again, it's to some extent, first of all, that we need to make sure that those bridges are built and the people being contacted, being aware of the necessity of the contributing back. Although it seems sort of straightforward and only natural if you are taking something like as the basis for your profits, but well, still and yet there is misunderstanding of open source by many. I think that's one of the issues there.
So we have questions. Can I just ask, because time is flying, I don't know if we can use like an extra couple of minutes maybe, but I will, before we have the last questions, if we could have like the last 20 seconds of your thoughts on what's a final message. Like if people were to leave the room with one message regarding the future of Drupal, what would you in your mind, what would it be?
I think Drupal's future is going to be awesome, in one single word, and I can see it being like heavily AI adopting to basically make things easier to use and easier to adapt, and lots of innovation coming in.
I think just following the previous discussion, in order to ensure bright future of Drupal, please do consider contribution, not necessarily code. Support your local events, support global events, become a speaker, become a mentor, whatever. There is no such a thing as small contribution, as we say, and just consider being the conscious part of the community.
Yeah, I think a single word, if I had to talk about future of Drupal, it's futuristic right now. The kind of roadmap that's laid down, it looks futuristic. We're trying to cater to both technology aspect of things as well as what market demands are. So hopeful and futuristic is the two words I would say.
You get the privilege to be the last, Cristina.
Yeah, I have time enough to think. Actually, I think it's great that we've had this DrupalCon Asia. We've been too Eurocentric and US-centric, and the fact that this is happening here, it is great. It's a perfect opportunity to show that there is a lot of stuff to do in a lot of other places, and I take my part on that. That it's too many times the meetings are scheduled at US or Europe-friendly meeting times, and we leave too many people out. So I think having this in here, it's a way to show, hey, we're here. So
collecting the thoughts from all of you, to me, it's we have a lot of work to do, but the future is bright.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Before we leave, if we have time for...
Yeah. We're talking mostly about innovations in Drupal, about cool features that we can implement, but a lot of people now, when they choose the solution or the technology, they just can consider Drupal not suitable because of missing some of the basic things. For example, GraphQL. As we use Drupal as decoupled, most of the front-end users expect GraphQL out of the box, but Drupal just missed this. Or response time, for example, 10 milliseconds is impossible for Drupal to get some information from the backend. So if we can solve these modern base things in Drupal, it will bring much more new people that will consider it as a good choice for the new websites. So to find these things, we can make survey or somehow compare with other solutions that people use to start new projects. So if someone will consider Drupal but choose another thing, we can ask why you use that thing, not Drupal, what you miss in Drupal, and somehow share this information and make some board of the things that we miss, and because of specifically that thing, we lose the clients, the potential users, and then invest time into implementing these features, not the innovations for Drupal developers, but innovations that miss innovations that can't give us new clients. So what do you think about this idea?
So are you talking about kind of creating a board of reasons of why people don't stay?
Yeah, why people don't want to use Drupal for this specific task or something. So what do they miss in Drupal, but have in other CMSs in other solutions? So we have no such list, actually.
So if we could have this information, it would be gold.
Yeah.
Really, it could be so useful. And I think a lot of the times we lack this specific information. So if there is a way to have this information stored and shared.
Yeah,
some kind of form or something like this on Drupal, why you don't use Drupal?
Yeah, we have some similar collaboration, for example, with the search initiative that 1X has been working on collecting information from a lot of companies. So maybe there are some opportunities to gather similar information. And the amazing thing about our open source community is that our companies are not scared about sharing competitive information amongst them. So it's an interesting idea. Thanks.
Yeah, and if a company works with different technologies, Drupal and others, and they can share this information, it's not very confidential.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been a privilege for me. Thanks a lot for joining this roundtable, and thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any more questions, you can please come talk to my amazing co-speakers. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your DrupalCon. Thank you.